Martial, Herrera, Ibrahimovic! Oh my God, an insane goal! I'll just say the most insane goal I have ever seen on a football pitch. Balotelli, Aguero!
Hey everybody, welcome to the Soccer Sharps, a soccer betting podcast. And Jord, we are here and the Club World Cup it's on. It's happening. There's games going on right now. There's been games all day. We were at the game on Sunday between PSG and Atletico Madrid. I can't wait to talk about that. It was awesome in some ways and terrible in others. And just the tournament as a whole, I think has been really great. Our bets are coming in. Those are enjoyable as well. And we've got more bets for you guys throughout some of the games, wrapping up this round one of the group stage. So we got more bets to give out. We'll get to those at the end, as always. But Jord, you just left. I dropped you off at Burbank Airport. You're already back at Phoenix Sky Harbor. How was your trip?
That's right. I'm beyond Phoenix Sky Harbor. I'm actually at home now.
Wow.
Where people recognize me here in my room. So look, Dev had a great time out there in sunny Los Angeles, California. We had a great time in Hollywood, checking out House of Atleti or Atleti House. Then we went to the
Casa
game.
de Atleti, Jordan. Casa de Atleti.
Yes, that's right. Casa de Atleti. Great time there. A lot of fun, man. The vibes are rocking. Teams are taking this tournament seriously. You love to see it. The passion on display. Fans are showing up and showing out. Love to see it, Dev. I'm really excited about this. I'm really enjoying the tournament so far. And, we'll talk a little bit about the game we went to. That was great. We're going to try and put up a video on our YouTube channel. Some of the action we got there.
Don't make any promises about that. Look, we're not really like live action vlogger people. We tried to do some footage from the game, and I mean, look, it's very much people doing it for their first time. But Jordan, the game was a lot of fun. I got Bob DeVita in the chat right now saying PSG is a money-making machine. I love the alliteration there, Bob DeVita, and he's right. I mean, we have seen this team just dominate. We watched them at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena on Sunday, Jord. It's funny, I was seeing a lot of people slagging off the tournament and saying, oh, look at this. There's nobody in the stands. The game's kicked off. Nobody's in the stands. And I just want to say, I don't know who to blame for this. I don't know if it's the World Cup or the FIFA people or the Rose Bowl people or the Pasadena people. The traffic was a fucking shit show. It was insane. We had to get out of our car on the freeway, our Uber that we were taking down there, got out of it on the freeway and walked 2 miles to the stadium, which was faster than actually just waiting in the traffic to get there. So at kickoff, it looked a little bit under... like people weren't there, but it's just because they were filing in. By the end of the game, it was packed, 80,000 people in attendance. We had both PSG fans, Atleti fans. Atmosphere was great. The only thing that was bad was there's absolutely no reason to be playing a game at noon in Pasadena, California, when it's 92 degrees outside Fahrenheit. It was pretty miserable as an experience, and we're not out there running sprints back and forth. So I've heard that the Atleti players were complaining, like, you can't play in this. One guy was saying he couldn't sprint. I think it was Marcos Llorente was saying he couldn't sprint because his toenails hurt too much from the turf being warm, which is something. But we were out in the stands, and it was tough. It was really, really tough. I know they probably want to kick it off at noon for the European audience, who would be 8 p.m. It would be a perfect primetime match for them. But it was rough for the players, for us in the stands. The rest of the games, I think, at Pasadena are in the evening, which makes a lot more sense. But Kenny Fryman says, what a soft-ass response. Look, I was talking shit about, the weather before we got there and had to be in the mix of it because it was pretty miserable. But Jordan,
let me get a word in here. So the sprints didn't seem to be an issue for PSG at all. So I don't know what Atleti are complaining about there. Nuno Mendes looked fast as shit as ever. Kvaratskhelia bombing down the wing. They didn't have issues. Sounds like sour grapes from Atleti. But actually, Dev, I think the players are probably more comfortable than the people in the stands. We're packed in there like sardines in a stadium that was fit for purpose decades ago, but maybe not now. Crammed in on bleachers, just bleeding sweat onto each other like there's a guy's arm on you the entire time. It's so intense, so intense. And we had great seats. Great seats.
Yeah.
So, I think the players at least could feel breeze as they moved. So maybe they'll figure that out as the tournament progresses. Maybe we saw today in Atlanta that it was pretty sparsely attended at the beginning, but it did start to fill up a little bit. Maybe they weren't quite sure how to prepare for these matches because ticket sales were down, but then they explode the day of, or who knows what's going on. But I'm just enjoying what's on the pitch, and we're ready to cap it some more. We went 4-4-1 with our 9 official plays from the two of us from our last show. You had 6, I had 3. So, treading water combined, 4-4-1. You did a little better than I did, but, not a bad return, especially when you compare it to some of the other summer tournaments we've dealt with in recent seasons. So not bad. Let's see if we can keep it going. And I think now that we know that these teams are taking it seriously, it makes our job a little bit easier.
Yeah, absolutely. It has been complete full strength lineups, teams taking it very seriously, though, so that can be put to rest, that somehow there's going to be rotation. Bayern Munich certainly let us all know what was going to happen in that one. Kenny Fryman here in the chat says, MLS thoughts, man. I thought LAFC comported themselves pretty well against Chelsea today. Was that today? That was today. Yeah. And look, they lost 2-0, but they were difficult to break down. They made it hard for Chelsea. I don't think they have enough quality going forward to really trouble them. But look, 2-0 is better than 10-0.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually, to be fair to Inter Miami too, that game was really entertaining. The opener, Inter Miami and al-hilal, really, Inter Miami probably should have been down by multiple goals right away, the first half there, but caught some breaks there. And then the second half, they looked a lot better, made some adjustments, and they were actually threatening to nick the 3 points at the end there. So still curious to see how they get on. We'll see if Infantino's conspiratorial reach comes in to keep them around for the first knockout stage at least, or if they can handle it on their own, just from their chops. They look pretty good in that second half, as I say. And I agree, LAFC, they were kind of, toothless in attack, but they did pretty well to frustrate Chelsea for the most part and not get too victimized by the pace there. So there'll be easier matches for them, I think. But in general, look, we all know it's a pretty pathetic league. Nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, what are you going to do? I think for me, just the main takeaway has been the passion of the South American fans. We've seen Boca Juniors taking over New Jersey malls and getting their chants out in a Walmart. There's some incredible videos on X and Twitter, which is a great time to tell you guys to please like, follow, subscribe, get on to our pods, and you can hear all of our plays as we continue to cover this really fun tournament. So please hit that subscribe button so you can always be informed when we go live and when we give out these plays. And anybody, we want to hear from you guys. So if you're in the chat here and you have some good ideas about bets or you completely want to fade us, we have no problem with that. Let us know. We've got Bob DeVita saying MLS equals bet against us. 3-1 so far betting against them. All right. I like what I'm hearing, Bob. Cheers on that for you, because we're recording this at night, and I've got my little Modelo with some tahini mixed in, and I'm ready to cap some plays, Jord.
Love to see it, Dev. Love to see it. I'm slipping here. I just have water in a cup.
Well, we need it after that day at the Rose Bowl on Sunday. But, Jord, let's dive into our first matchup, and it's coming up tomorrow on Tuesday. It is Fluminense from Brazil against Borussia Dortmund. This one sees Dortmund as full goal favorites, -1. The total is set at 2.75. Jordan, I've been really impressed with the South American teams. I've really enjoyed watching them. I think they play with a ton of intensity and fire and even some flair mixed in. It's been really fun to watch them. We get another one here with Fluminense, and I got to say, I think this is the match, looking at the first round of group games, that I'm most excited about against this Dortmund team, who has brought on Niko Kovac as their manager and really started to figure some stuff out at the end of the Bundesliga season, getting into the Champions League quality spots again. And what do you think about this matchup now as we see Fluminense against Dortmund?
Well, Dev, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I've never seen Fluminense play a match. I know that they're obviously one of the perennial South American teams to look out for, and I'm looking forward to seeing them play against a Dortmund team that I find to be pretty open and entertaining on most days. But as you know, longtime listeners to the show or Discord heads will know, Dortmund and betting just did not go together well for me during this past season. So I went ahead and left this one alone, Dev. Although I would have to say, I got to think there are going to be goals in it. Is that what you saw here?
You nailed it, bud. That's exactly where I'm going. I'm looking at the goals here just on the total. I think it probably comes from both ends. You could look at the both teams to score it, minus 125, tack that on with maybe an over 2.5. I think it could be like a 2-1, honestly, either direction. But I think Dortmund should have the wherewithal to outlast them here, get a couple goals on the board. I've been a little disappointed by the lack of goals we've seen in some of these matches. I think we've only seen now one game has had both teams scoring in it, and that was Botafogo Seattle. I think every other game both teams to score no has hit
until today with
that.
The Benfica.
Oh, Boca Juniors. Yeah, Boca Juniors Benfica is probably the best game, we've seen so far, and that's another South American team against a European team. So I'm hoping for more of the same here. Yeah, red cards. That was crazy. It really fun to watch there. And again, the crowd in there in South Florida and Miami, it's basically a little Argentina at that point. So it was pretty cool to see. But this one is being played in processing in East Rutherford in New Jersey. I think there will be a strong Fluminense support, but this one is at 9 a.m. At least for us on the West Coast here. But Jord, look, back to the goals. Okay, you can get this on the Asian total here at 2.75, over 2.75, minus 118. I'm going to be a little bit greedy, and I'm just going to take the over flat 3. I'm going to take the push possibility in the event of just 3 goals because we've got plus money on that. I believe it's plus 104, I want to say. To get over 3, you need 4 goals in the match. Of course, we've only seen it a couple of times with the Paris Saint-Germain and now the Boca Juniors and Benfica match. So there hasn't been a ton of scoring, but you take a look at the streaks for some of these teams, right? Borussia Dortmund over 2.5 goals in 10 straight matches across all competitions. Both teams have scored in 5 with 7 of those. I'm expecting both ends, but I am just going to take the over flat 3 just in case we see a 3-0. Maybe I can push out of it.
Yeah, I like that, Devin. Actually, you're getting a little better than what you thought it is, plus 108, I believe.
There we go.
You love to see that. I like the way you're attacking this. And look, we have seen some lower scoring games, but, not for lack of trying. It's not that the games have been cagey and no one wants to lose or anything. We could have gone a very different way with some of them. So the intent is there. We just haven't gotten the bounce of the ball to go our way in terms of goals yet, but I think it'll come. It's a pretty fun tournament.
Kenny Fryman in the chat says, Fluminense have what BVB doesn't. Heart. But who knows? Well, they're going to need a lot of heart, aren't they, to stop this BVB team? Because I think they are a pretty well-oiled machine with Serhou Guirassy up there. He's on my fantasy team for this Club World Cup. I got him captained. But, Jordan, let's move on. We've got another matchup. This one also on Tuesday, and it's River Plate against Urawa Red Diamonds. Urawa Red Diamonds. Jesus.
Yeah.
From
Japan.
Japan.
That one.
Yeah, we've got Argentina against Japan here, and this one sees the Argentinians as full goal favorites of -1. Total is set at 2.75. Jordan, first time, obviously, these two clubs have ever met. Should be a lot of fun. What do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, Deb, we talked about it a little bit on the preview show that this Urawa Red Diamonds team from Japan, if this tournament had taken place a couple of seasons ago, it might have been really fun to see them in there, but they have sort of fallen off a cliff in terms of form. Whereas River Plate, if you're going to base it on it, like what we've been seeing so far from some of the South American teams and the fans showing out, some of the stuff we've seen online, this place is going to be very close to a home game for them. I think it's going to be absolutely rocking, not to mention the fact that River Plate have the quality as well. So I went back and forth about how to play this one. I did want to have a play on it. I'm very pro River Plate here. I thought about just taking the -1 because it's a free hit, right? Just win the game because I think they do. But with the way some of the games have gone, goals at a premium, as we've talked about, I decided to go a different way. I'm going to take them on the money line, get a better price by tacking on the tried and true under 4.5, which could be a little dicey when you look at some of these teams' recent streaks. But again, you got to bake in that first round of a tournament tax and the heat and the whole deal. Bake it all in. And I think maybe it keeps suit that we don't get to 5 goals, hopefully. Can we just not get to 5 suddenly? I think that could be okay. I think River Plate gets it done in what's probably a 2-0, maybe 2-1, maybe 3-0 kind of thing. So I wasn't sure about going over or under on this, but I think under 4.5 is fairly safe. And I see River Plate coming away with the 3 points. So that's my play for this one, Dev.
Right on, Jord. I elected to stay off of this one. I think you're probably right. I think River Plate wins this. But you got to tack on something here. You either got to take them on the Asian handicap there, -1, which means you need them to win by 2 clear goals, or you start adding on totals. And you're going with the under, which I think is wise from what we've seen from this tournament. We have seen over 2.5 goals, 7 of the last 9 River Plate matches, over 2.5, 4 of the last 5 Red Diamonds matches. This one kicking off at noontime here on the West Coast, and it's actually in Seattle, Lumen Field. So maybe the weather won't be too bad up there. It shouldn't be too hot at least. But yeah, for me, Red Diamonds is too much of an unknown. I'm too scared. I haven't seen much. I don't think we've had any of the Asian continent teams play yet, so I don't really know what to expect. I'm a little nervous about it. I think you're right that River Plate should get the win here.
I hope so. Let's keep it going, babe.
Kenny Fryman says River win to 0. Not a bad shout. Good way to get value on your side there. Because you do have that -1, which makes me a little scared. I'm a little scared of the -1, Jord. But let's move on. And now we are on to our Wednesday games. We've got men. Oh no, who we got here? Who we want to do first? I got the thing wrong. Processing. There it is. It's Manchester City against WAC Casablanca. This one sees Manchester City as big favorites here, -3 on the Asian handicap there, and the total is set at 3.5. Jordan, Manchester City are pretty interesting this offseason. They brought in a ton of guys. They're refreshing for this tournament. They're bringing in guys like Tiani Reinders, number of other players, Ryan Cherokee. All these guys are coming in under the deadline to play in this tournament, and they're kicking off here against Casablanca, obviously from Morocco, and they're big dogs here. How do you think they're going to fare against this Manchester City juggernaut?
Well, I don't think they're going to fare well, Dev. Spoiler alert. I don't think it's going to be as bad as what we saw with Bayern and Auckland City the other day. But, at least Casablanca are a professional unit. You can see all the stars they've got tacked onto their logo there. They're used to winning things, at least in their region. So I don't think it'll be a 10-0 double-digit drubbing, but I expect it to be pretty smooth sailing for Man City here, right? But we talk a lot on this show about what smooth sailing is for Man City isn't what it is for some of the other European juggernauts. They're happy to just win a match 2-0, 3-0, something like that. I think as the line suggests with this one, it's probably closer to maybe a 3 or 4-0 Man City win. But I don't know that it gets crazy out of hand. The bookies are telling us right here, both teams to score no, -300. Really tough to see Casablanca getting on the score sheet here. So I think this is probably cruise control, classic City, ball retention, soccer. You know what I'm saying? So the lines are kind of prohibitive because, as I said, City can be totally comfortable with a 3-0 win, even if it's against a total minnow. So if you took the -3 on the handicap there and you pushed, you wouldn't really make any money, obviously. So try to parse this a little bit. We decided to cut it in half because one thing that Man City does like to do is if they are going to do a cruise control game and just kind of comfortably win it and then run the clock out with possession, they like to get it done early, right? Couple of goals first half, break the will of the opponent, and then just kind of cruise the rest of the time. And I'm not saying they never keep going. They never score 4 or 5, 6 goals, but generally that's the ethos. And so we wanted to cut this in half and see if we could find a little value in the first half. And I think we did, Dev. You see the game total or the team total for Man City for the full game, over 3.5, slightly plus money there. So bookies looking at this as maybe they score 3, maybe they score 4. Hard to say. We cut it in half. First half, you can get Man City team total over 1.5, and that's coming in at plus 105. I think they could easily be up 2-0 at the half. So that's where we decided to go. And I keep saying we because we both have this play on our card, Dev, which means there's going to be 2 units on the line for the Soccer Sharps official plays.
Hell yeah. Well, it's not like we've ever had to rely on Pep Guardiola and he's fucked us before. So it should be fun.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Jord, I think Erling Haaland is probably just licking his lips, right? Harry Kane didn't even score in the 10-0 Bayern game. So he's thinking, oh, I'm going to get that golden boot now, and Haaland can come out, probably bag a couple of goals. He's just so dominant in the center there. Casablanca's going to have their hands full dealing with him. And the way City retain the ball, they're just going to make chances. Maybe they don't convert them, but we've seen them do it against the best sides in Europe where they're going to create chances. And the question is, can they bury them? And I think they can. I think they probably take their foot off the gas. They're just not the City of old that used to win like 5-0. They win 2, 3-0, kind of kick the ball around, just try not to get hurt, get out of there with the 3 points. The thing that might be a little bit scary about Man City is all these new players. How do they sort of mix in? Do they play this Pep system? Is Ryan Cherky still going to be fun before Pep gets his hands on him? There's a lot swirling around Jack Grealish. Maybe he's getting a move. So interesting to see just how they set up here. But you're right. They should destroy here. What do we have? Who we got? Haaland to get a hat trick. Yeah, it's not a bad shout. I mean, look, if he starts the match, every chance he's going to get on the score sheet and probably multiple times. So I like that bet. We've got Hooligan Soccer. Sorry?
I was going to say, but also, as you already highlighted, anyone who had Harry Kane not to score, show me your ticket. Because the other day, that 10-goal Bayern game, you would think Harry Kane comes away with one of those to the tune of, I took him to be tournament top scorer, banking on the fact that he'd get at least 1 or 2 against Auckland City. Also, captain him in fantasy. What a disaster that was. So tread lightly with Haaland. It'll probably be Marmouche stealing all the joy.
Speaking of individual players and their bets, though, we got Hooligan Soccer coming in saying, did your Hakimi bet pay off? You betcha. Shot on target. It's the money printer, baby.
That's right.
We see it in all these PSG matches, and everybody was scoring for PSG. Hakimi didn't score, but he did get that shot on target. So that is another cha-ching. That's another bag. We'll take it.
Jordan, I wonder if the books are going to adjust to this pretty quickly now. We talked about it, how they just don't seem to be adjusting to Hakimi shot on target. And then at the top, there was Bob in the chat saying that, PSG, they're a money-making machine. And it's true. Now that we've seen them come up against probably their toughest competition, at least for a while in the tournament, and absolutely paced them. It's like, when are the bookies going to just be like, okay, we can't keep giving out like relatively reasonable prices on this team. So will it happen next round? Are they just like going to be prohibitive now? Not going to be able to get these prices anymore? I think there's a good chance.
Yeah, you and I were talking about that exact thing today because we were saying the bookies now they're tired of it. Okay, you're not making money off of us with PSG anymore. And I think we're going to see that reflect in the lines. But Jord, that's match day 2. We've still got games in match day 1. We've got one of the most famous teams on planet Earth. It's Real Madrid against al-hilal from Saudi Arabia. Jordan, this is another one I'm pretty excited about in terms of best matches of this first round of the group. Real Madrid in this one are big favorites. A goal and 3/4 minus 1.75. And the total is set at 3.5. A lot of unknowns in this one. And you got this al-hilal team. They won the Saudi Pro League, I want to say. I hope that's not wrong. But I do know that they brought in Simone Inzaghi, the former Inter coach, who is going to be familiar with this Real Madrid side because they played in the Champions League when he was with Inter. And now Real Madrid brings in their own coach as well. They've got Xabi Alonso taking over for this tournament. And how is that going to affect this Real Madrid team? Because we're used to the Carlo Ancelotti Real Madrid where everything's insane and it's just rely on individual brilliance ball and everybody's going to come out there and we're going to have a good time with some good team vibes. Xabi Alonso, on the other hand, is going to really value possessing the ball, discipline, positional play, those kind of principles. So can he imprint his will onto this team? Inzaghi, can he take over this team with some big egos? I'm sure he's got no problem with it. And they got a match up here. What do you think about this one, Jordan?
This is the game I've been looking forward to the most in the group stages after the Atleti PSG game. I've been waiting for this one. You know, I got a future on Hilal. I think this should be a lot of fun. I don't think Xabi Alonso and Simeone are going to be changing too much for these teams. I don't think they've had enough time to really do that. And Real Madrid, look, I said on this show, I think they were my pick to win the tournament. That said, I think these lines are a little disrespectful to Al Hilal here. They have a problem. And Real Madrid finished the season kind of like a train wreck, to be honest, in terms of team cohesion and what the hell they were doing with their midfield. This Al Hilal team could cause problems, and I think plus 1.75 is a little rich. I could easily see Madrid winning this game, but I don't think they're going to run away with it necessarily. I think Al Hilal can match them goal for goal. Alexander Mitrovic, in incredible goal-scoring form. Salem Al-Darsawi, I think that's how you say it. Also an incredible player. I only know him because of EA 25. That's what I've been playing now, and he's one of my stalwarts in that. So, look, they got problems on the pitch. I think Simone Inzaghi will try and set them up a little bit more pragmatically, knowing they're coming up against one of the tournament favorites. But I really hope that this one's just kind of a shootout, Dev, because that's what I'm going to bet on for it. Now, thought about the over 3.5. It's that nice round number, plus 100, even money. But I want to bring in the 2-1, Dev. We've been talking about it all show, right? Some of these games we've thought they would deliver goals, should have delivered goals, and didn't. Maybe it's just a first-round curse kind of thing, and this game is still part of the first round. So I'm not going to pick a side here, Dev. I'm going to take what they're giving me here, and we can take both teams to score, minus 143, tack on over 2.5, gets you to minus 110, call it a day.
Right on, Jordy. Yeah, I love that play here because we think Al Hilal will get on the score sheet. Do either of these managers have enough time to really put their principles into action? This is their first live game setting of it. Real Madrid bringing in some new guys, new center back, new right back, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. How do those guys fit into the mix with these, Mbappe, Vinicius? Is Rodrigo going to get sold? I know he's been linked to a possible move this summer. And Jordan, this is a rare one where these two teams have actually met in the previous Club World Cup, where we saw a 5-3 Real Madrid victory in that one. So that was 2 years ago. Why not more? Why not more of the same? Why not more goals? We'd love to see it. The thing that would worry me here is that this is kicking off in Miami, Florida at 3 p.m. of that local time. So it's going to be hot. It's going to be very humid there in South Florida.
It's
going
to be humid.
It's going to be so hot, so humid. Is that going to sort of drain the players from really making the long runs and getting in behind and getting in goal scoring positions? I hope not. I love this play, Jordan, because Real Madrid, they love letting people score on them because they go, we're just going to outscore you. And I hope it's more of that. I hope Xabi Alonso isn't too pragmatic in his approach here.
Yeah, Dev, absolutely. And I wanted to share that I have a couple of props that I like for this. They're not officially making my card, but you'll probably see them in the Discord. So if you're new to the show and you don't know about our Discord, find the link to join in the description. Jump in there and talk FIFA Club World Cup betting with us. Totally free to join. Anyway, you might see some of these from me in there because I identified some insane value on a book that rhymes with livers. And it's from the Real Madrid side here, Trent Alexander-Arnold to score or assist at plus 170. That's too big. I think he starts this game. There's been a lot of fanfare about it. He's going to be on free kicks. He's probably going to be on corners. And I could just see him making a mark early, kind of on his Madrid debut. So plus 170, too big for that. Then the big boy, I already mentioned him, Alexander Mitrovic up top. We're getting him at plus 245 to score at any time. You kidding me? That's insane value. Not saying he's definitely going to score, but at plus 245, hard not to take that. And finally, the other guy I mentioned, Salem Al-Darsawi, just to have a shot on target, plus 130. He's the team's second highest scorer, and he's their highest assist maker. The guy is involved in everything. I think that's value. So just wanted to shout those out.
Yeah, thanks for digging into those, Jordan. I think there is a lot of value, a lot of money to be made in the prop markets in some of these teams that we maybe don't even understand that well. We're just starting to figure out this tournament. It's only been a couple days. It's been a lot of fun. But that's going to wrap it for the games we have until we get to the next round. We record on Thursday. So always please like, subscribe, follow us so you can get our next episode. Check us out live on Instagram, Twitch, and Twitter or X. But Jord, it's a lot of talking. But before we get out of here, there's something we got to do.
We do indeed, Dev, because it's one thing to talk about this tournament, and it's quite another to put our money where our mouths are and pay the bookie.
Chuck, I'm going to tell you something. You have that fucking 200 in my hands tomorrow. If you ain't got the 200 in my fucking hands tomorrow, I'll break every fucking bone in your body.
Well, Jord, it has been fun so far. We're splitting up the official plays. We got Devin's plays. We got Jordan's plays. If you tailed me, you made a little bit of money. But again, just a little bit as we went 3, 2, and 1 through my 6 plays. But this one kicks off tomorrow morning. If you're listening to this, get your bets in now. I've got Fluminense against Borussia Dortmund. Over 3 goals on the Asian total there at plus 108. Then on Wednesday, we've got Manchester City. Jordan and I both on this. First half team total over 1.5 at plus 105, plus money for Manchester City just to score twice in the first half. It's going to be target practice out there, Jord. And then Real Madrid against al-Hilal. Both teams to score and over 2.5 goals in the match. Once again, Jordan and I riding on this 2 units, baby. Let's go. Minus 110.
Love
Jord,
to
that's going to
see
do it
Dev.
for us.
And you bogarted there. You forgot to mention my River Plate play. I have
Right.
another play there, and that's on River Plate on the money line with under 4.5 goals tacked on. That's coming in at minus 125. Juiciest play on the card, but I think there's a decent shout that cashes. So however you want to play it, the important part is River Plate on the money line. I'm just greedy, didn't want to take it at the minus 160. So I think Kenny mentioned in the chat that River Plate win to nil is another good option. So I think if they do win to nil, the under 4.5 should come through. So yeah, as always, guys, with all of these bets, especially with summer tournaments with great unknowns, bet responsibly. Just have fun with it. Don't bet the house on some completely degen game that you have no idea about. And absorb data points. Don't have to bet on every game, right? Just absorb the data points and say, oh, this is something I'm going to attack in the second round. So, yeah, you got anything else to add to that, Debbie?
I'm already eyeballing some games based on what I saw in the first round for the next, and be sure to check out our next show. We'll be going live. It'll be either Wednesday night or Thursday morning. We haven't quite decided that yet, so hop in our Discord. We will let you know. Hop on to Twitter. Give us a follow. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. We'd appreciate it. And that's going to do it for me, Jord. Any last words for the people?
Just to say thank you for joining us live. Thank you for watching this or listening to this after the fact. Thank you for telling a friend, spreading the word. Thanks for being here with us as we try to grow this thing. Let's make some money.
Let's
Martial.